So then, because of your experience, and I love that your focus is on people and just being more effective, what you're on the inside, what are your hot and spicy takes about HR?
I'd like to challenge the um, idea around authenticity. That I think when authenticity um, became, one of those hot button sort of bandwagons that everyone's, you got to be authentic, you got to be your true self, and all versions of that. Let's just think about that for a minute. If all employees were coming to work and they were being their true and authentic selves, that would be an absolute chaotic night.
Hmm.
There would be no rules, there would be no structure, there would be no norms. It was just everybody, it's a free for all. So we're asking people to be authentic, but to be authentic to a point where it still works. It's still in the framework of the business and being helpful for the business. Yes, be your authentic self, but let's really define what authenticity is in the construct of coming together in a business environment and all working to meet the business goals. So that is one of my one of mine that I know is a very unpopular idea in the HR realm because we love authenticity. Let's talk about it. Yes, we want you to be yourself when you come to work because that's how you can be your best version of yourself. Well, as long as I agree with what your best version really is, and if your best version is moving the company forward, then yes, be your best version. But if your best version is actually a toxic nightmare, then no, I don't want you to be authentic. So that is one of mine.
Hmm.
I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
That I think that's an interesting nuance because your part of what you're saying, I think, is the idea that it's in the eye of the beholder, like that authenticity, and because even depending on the culture, your authentic behavior might be super welcome and fits in and jives really well with the culture, and in another place, it's super toxic because that's just not how things are done there. I guess how do you think about or conceptualize that difference and that balance of what's the right amount? And I understand there's no like one right answer across every industry or person, but how do you think about that balance?
I think you have to evaluate whether that authenticity is contributing positively to the business or negatively to the business. And if it's contributing positively to the business, I don't mean that you're just fitting in. I mean, are you bringing a different value, a different idea that is challenging the business and ultimately allows it to grow? Then that authenticity is absolutely welcome, absolutely valuable, even if it might not necessarily fit in with the general culture or the way that things work. So I do think that there's an element of being able to challenge the business and what's always been done that way, and those excuses. But if it's ultimately at the detriment of the business, then that authenticity should not be now, I say the business as if the business is the North Star, and there's pros and cons, good and bad, in every single business. But I think ultimately, if you're a part of something that is intended to add value to the marketplace, to make a profit, or if in the nonprofit world, to contribute positively to the cause that you exist to positively contribute to, then great. But if you're not, if you're toxic in the environment, and I think your coworkers and the people that surround you are very telling with that, then I think that no, that's not going to.
So I imagine that would be a really difficult conversation for any leader who has a team member that has authentic self that is not matched with the culture. I assume that might be already addressed during the interview process. But let's say that
Yeah.
was not caught, that the disconnect between their authentic, maybe their own culture and the company culture. What would you say how to have that conversation? What to do in that situation when there is a mismatch?